warning for the video, but what we're doing is 42.19. This just updated, or this just dropped. It didn't update the game yet. You can see I'm on Steam right here. Excuse me. A little bit of a rough voice today. So this is directly from Steam. We have Reinforcing the Barricades, posted May 29th today. Let's go through this real quick. I read through some of this, so I have a pretty good idea what's in here already. This update is probably going to drop on Monday. This is typically what they do is they'll drop something, they'll put out communication on um, like a Friday often, and if you see it on a Friday, that typically means the update is coming on Monday. So that's kind of what we're anticipating now. First of all, I did read something in here. Let me touch on this. There's some exciting stuff in here. It's actually a short update, but let me, sorry guys, my voice has been a little bit rough lately. I'm trying to work on it. I need to drink more water. Where was the one? Sorry, I'm not finding the thing I was going to mention. I think it's actually, oh, here it is. I want to mention this part real quick. It's towards the bottom. I know some of you haven't been able to read this yet. What it says here about this upcoming update 42.19, it says, while there are no known broad save and validating issues in this update, which means you shouldn't have to, even in multiplayer, you shouldn't have to wipe, but please remember that this is unstable, and we always recommend starting a fresh save and resetting servers for a new version release, along with backing up any saves you plan on converting to 42.19. I just want to say that right off the bat, because that's really that paragraph right there is probably one of the most important paragraphs in the game. But guys, do you see what this says right here? Look at this. They did it. I knew they were going to do this. I knew they were working on it, and I've even noticed some differences recently, just in the last few days. So I think they've already been working on it and working kind of with Steam. And now we're going to have full customization of controllers. Controller customization. Thank you for fixing this. Let's read through it real quick. This first whole section is about localization, which I believe most of this is referring to um, community translation. Um, there's other stuff in here. I don't fully understand everything they're talking about in this section, but I believe most of this is just talking about sort of working locally, working on community translation. They have a sort of a different model for how they're doing it now. And it says here, looking forward, the community translation model is a smoother and more organic way of supporting our style of development. So I know they're making some big changes. They've added new staff. They also mentioned adding some new staff that I guess some of them came over from Minecraft, I think they said. But they said a lot of this just feels like a good, yeah, Minecraft Java edition, providing support for 100 languages. So they're working on languages and broadening it to a wider audience. I also think they've had some pretty good successes, and I think they're still holding their numbers pretty well, so they're trying to expand. Now, that's what that whole first section is about. I just wanted to make this kind of a short stream. It's really kind of a small update, which I was really hoping they would do this and focus on controllers. So we're just going to touch on these few things here real quick. Not going to be a long stream, but I will be right back to do more of a traditional Zomboid stream this evening. Since I just noticed this when I got back home and logging onto my computer, I noticed this update had dropped. So I wanted to update the community on it all. And here we are. Look at me. Uh, yeah, so this part really excited me. This is awesome. I've been asking for this ever since 42.15 when they broke it. and I appreciate the work they've done on it, um, for sure. So let's just read through this because this is pretty short too. So controller customization. This is for people who play on an Xbox or PlayStation controller or whatever, which I do. I use all three, the Xbox controller, the keyboard, and the mouse, and I just bounce back and forth between them all. Like I say in my videos, often I have the controller in my left hand and the mouse in my right, but the controller gives you the freedom to often not touch the mouse, and you can kind of, you know, have a little more freedom, I feel like, than being tied down to your seat and your keyboard and your mouse the whole time. So I highly recommend controllers, especially now that they're working actively on it. So what they say here is controller players know, sorry, controller players know that the team has been hard at work to bring new functionality to controllers. First adapting the Build 42 aiming system to gamepads, then following up with sensitivity and mapping adjustments based on player feedback. Because we recognize that Project Zomboid is an interface-heavy game, and knowing that many controller players are coming from other styles of games and even other platforms, we made the decision that instead of continuing to adjust default button mapping configurations, it was more efficient to implement custom button mapping. This system allows players to remap the controller as they see fit. And I'm already thinking about how I want to map my controller. Most of it was fine for me. To be honest, I liked the way the controls were set up. On 42.15, it all worked really smoothly. I actually thought the aiming was too good because I was getting like 90% headshots. Like it was pretty easy to just boom, 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 headshot, headshot, headshot. It's not quite as easy as it was then now, but I kind of like it, the aiming feel where it's been. We'll see if these changes, I sometimes when they do updates, I have limited hope. But this sounds good. This all sounds good on paper. So you can see they're going to implement this into the actual game menu where you'll be able to go into your controller now in the game menu and you I don't know how this relates to like the Steam input and Steam controls, but it appears that you'll just be able to now and controller players will know that typically when you go here, like there wasn't any of this. You really didn't. Sometimes you could test the controller and stuff, but this was here, but it wasn't all set up properly with full customization and everything. So it looks like we're going to get that now, full customization ability by the player for each individual controller. And I happen to know that the controller that I use was just added not even a month or two ago. And it's probably because I personally play so much on that controller. No, I'm kidding, but I use an Xbox, just a basic Xbox controller, and I use it a lot. So let's just finish that. It says it's important to note that the game will allow you to remap multiple inputs to a single button. So keep in mind that you may be able to set up some conflicting configurations, but we felt the risk of this is outweighed by players who may come up with cool contextual setups. Additionally, some controllers have more inputs than traditional sets, so some extra buttons may not be mappable in the current iteration. Okay, so if you have a controller with a bunch of extra buttons on it, might not be working fully, but this basic setup should be, which includes toggles, triggers, whatever. This is essentially my exact controller right here. It's exactly the setup I have. Um, our thanks go out to our controller players for all their patience as we work to make this input system robust for folks with accessibility requirements or who just prefer controller inputs, which this is me. I just prefer using a controller for 90% of the game. It's just better to me. It's what once I've done it, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you use a controller? See, why would you insist on using WASD to move your character and your vehicle around? It's not, I think anyone who uses WASD knows that it's not a perfect system. A controller isn't a perfect system either, but at least you have two of these, and you also have pressure sensitive triggers. That's not something you have on a keyboard or a traditional mouse. You don't have pressure sensitive triggers. You don't have, yeah, anyway, enough about controller superiority. Fight me. No. So, and then I guess this would be the meat of it, without just talking about, it's really just uh, working on the language issues, expanding and adding more languages, and then the controller support and customization. They also said, I think that yeah, along with the new remapping system, there are tons of bug fixes and tweaks to improve your gamepad experience. So beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Indie Stone. I love this. I was waiting for this for a few updates, and you did get it to me pretty quick, so that's good. I really like that. Let's just real quick. I didn't want this to be a long video, so or a long stream. So let's just real quick read through this. It's fairly short. We're almost done. I'm going to rate this up while we're here. Balance, fixes, and MOAR stability. I'm just going to read the whole thing. Following up on the occupation changes that were made in 42.18, the last update, we are narrowing down the window on Build 42 occupation and trait balancing. Beautiful. This update sees trait tweaks related to the tracking and trapping skills. The hunter trait now no longer gives +1 trapping, replacing it with +1 tracking. I like that. If you're a hunter, you're not trapping necessarily, you're tracking. Yeah, okay. Better reflecting a hunter's experience in identifying game trails on their outings. The hiker trait, which awards, and I think they need to add like fitness or something to this still. I still think the hiker trait is not good enough, which awards +1 to both trapping and foraging, but I don't think you get any kind of a fitness. Like a hiker should have really good fitness, you know? Give them like +2 fitness to make it like, balance them a little bit. Uh, Awards +1 to both trapping and foraging is reduced in cost to be more accessible to a broader set of occupations and wilderness loving survivors. Oh, so these are just the traits. These aren't occupations, right? But still, like a +1 to fitness or something would go a long way there. Maybe there's a reason they don't want to do that. As far as bug stomping, be prepared for a long list of fixes that affect both single and multiplayer. Here are some quick previews. Animals. Another thing I love. Animals will now be properly allocated between male and female. Guys, you see this right here? Animals will now be properly allocated between male and female. Thank you. So they fixed the two big issues I've been complaining about for a few weeks, just a few weeks, not a big deal. They broke both of these things recently. Uh, Also, characters can again hop over Jersey barriers. What's a Jersey barrier? I'm not going to look that up right now, but characters can again hop over Jersey. Oh, I bet you it's the roadblocks. I bet you it's the freaking roadblocks that I was just unable to climb over yesterday. Characters can again hop over Jersey barriers. Okay. Vehicle trailers should not flip on hookup. Okay. I hope that means they won't flip over when you're trying to just hook them up. I hope that doesn't mean that they won't flip back upright. Yeah, I think that's what that means. That they've tried to fix that the trailers will stay upright, is what they're saying there. And there's a big SFX polishing pass to address sound volume and range inconsistencies. I like that. There was some issues with the sound they recently implemented. You could hear it just always sounded like a car was starting whenever you drove near a running vehicle. There's a lot of little issues like that with the sound to address sound volume and range inconsistencies. So, okay. For multiplayer specific bugs, we've quashed ones related to firearm magazines disappearing when reloading. I've never had that happen. I don't use a lot of guns with magazines. I tend to have some issues with them. And here you go. But apparently they will no longer. I've never had one disappear. I do occasionally use an M9 and M16, even some of the other guns with mags. From okay, cautions related to items duplicating with various actions. Items have duplicated on me with like butchering especially. I've had issues with this one right here. If you butcher a chicken, sometimes it glitches out, it disconnects, desyncs, and then you come back and you've got two chickens, or you've got a dead chicken and you've still got the chicken in your inventory. So it seems like that might fix some of that. Now, granted, with a lot of these fixes, they've probably broken. What it seems like is often they'll fix like five or six things and they'll break one or two things when they fix those five. Weapon items duplicating with various actions and weapon condition desync between clients and servers. So apparently there was some condition issues with the weapons. I've never really noticed that, along with many more. On the performance side of things, a change to the way that chunk textures are loaded should limit the possibility of them being recreated every frame when off screen, which should improve performance, specifically when driving at high speeds through areas with a lot of texture variety, like, say, towns. So if you're driving high speeds through towns, there's often a lot of lag. Sometimes you'll even get desynced or you'll run into the dreaded black wall or the orange cone barrier. I'm sure anyone who's played Zomboid multiplayer has seen this. You're driving full speed, and next thing you know, your car just kind of stops and you see the orange cone wall. So that's meant to address some of that. Well, there are no known broad save invalidating issues in this update. Let me say that again. There are no known broad save invalidating issues in this update. This update should be coming out on Monday, by the way. Please remember that this is unstable and we always recommend starting a fresh save and resetting servers for a new version release, along with backing up any saves you plan on converting to 42.19. So you should be able to keep playing on your old save with this update. It shouldn't break your old save, is what they're saying. But thank you again for your continued support as we work to shore up the foundations and thin the horde as we move closer to the stable version of Build 42. And they keep saying this, so I'm telling you guys, I think by Christmas they're pushing for it. I think they got it. I think we will have Build 42 stable by Christmas. Look at this. This wasn't even, so their last update was May 11th, and it's now this one's going to come out June 1st. So they're doing these more than monthly sometimes, or you see what I'm saying? It's not necessarily every single month they have an update, but pretty much lately, I think since like December. And so I think what they're trying to do is they tried to release multiplayer 42 unstable last Christmas. I think what they're really pushing for, and they won't, I don't think anyone there would officially state this yet, but I think what they'd like is to have it done by Christmas. But they're very much like it's done when it's done. If they run into major issues here this summer, then it might not happen. But anyway, the rest of this is just not about the update. It's just, yeah, your random stuff. You can read all that. But those are the major, it's really a small update. It's essentially just bug fixes, a couple changes to the traits, um, and then mostly it's the controller customization is this update, which I fucking love. But they also fixed animals. We should be able to get back to farming now, so I can do some farming streams. And I can hear the excitement out there about my farming streams. I heard like 75,000 people stand up and cheer when I said that. Thank God Barry can do some farming streams. He's back to it, baby. Uh, yeah, whatever. You can read the rest of that. I pretty much read through the whole thing. So that's the update, guys. That's it. That's the whole thing right there. This was 40. See, this was released on May 11th. This is now May 29th. So 18 days later, not even 3 weeks later after this update. Well, it'll be 3 weeks when it comes out. So 3 weeks after their last update, they're releasing another update. Now this is a small one, and they probably rushed it because controllers were broken and animals were broken. We weren't able to breed with animals. So there you go. I love it, guys. I think they're doing a great job. I just want to give a shout out to Indie Stone. Thank you. I've been personally asking for this, not directly, but just whenever I talk to people about this, I've been saying, man, I wish they would fix this. It was several weeks, but you guys did great. I really appreciate your work. Thank you. I think that should do it for this stream. I will be back shortly here with a more traditional stream. I just wanted to drop this in for the update to let you guys know it's coming. Because I just noticed it myself. Just this update here just dropped today. The official actual game update will be released on Monday, I believe. It's typically how they do it. So anyway, we'll go out on this because I'm super excited about this controller customization. So I'm going to end stream, but I will be back shortly. I'm going to take a little break and then I will be back to do a more traditional stream for the evening. I don't know. We'll probably do some home tours around Irvington. That's kind of where I was at. And yeah, peace in, peace out. Love for